challenge because we are all sitting in our rooms. We also are sitting at home, not on campus. That's the situation right now. But so it is. We all have to live somewhere, and so wherever you're living, that's fine. And it's fine that we see a little bit of that. Those who are technologically advanced, of course, like to play with virtual backgrounds. You can do that too. But for now, we're just happy to see you. And I hope you're equally happy to see us. So welcome to the orientation meeting for incoming philosophy majors in the School of Philosophy. I would ask, my name is Matthias Vorwerk. I'm the Associate Dean in the School of Philosophy and in charge of our undergraduate programs. And Dr. McCarthy, who is the Dean of the School of Philosophy, is also here. And I would ask Dr. McCarthy first to say a few words of welcome to our new students.
Thank you, Dr. Vorwerk. I'm speechless. Let's get this right out on the table. The whole situation is weird. It's been weird for a while. And often enough with weird stuff, after a while the weird isn't so weird. It ceased being weird, but it's still weird after several months. So it looked to kind of fight against the weirdness, which is what we have to do, all of us, us as much as you, us, namely the faculty people, Ms. Tracy, as people like me who've been around for a quarter century, half a century, 3/4 of a century, I've lost track, or more, and you guys have just showed up. All of us, we gotta manage this, and we will manage it, I think, working together. So here I'm going to do something that I wouldn't normally do on this occasion, because it seems a little false sometimes, but I don't think it's false now. I'd ask, and I'll just call out your names, if each of you could introduce yourself and your name, and then just a few things about yourself that you think might be interesting for us to know. Starting with just where you grew up, where you're coming from. So, and I'll just call out your name so that there not be any car crashes, since you show up on your screens differently. And the first student here is, it's not alphabetical, is Faith Costello.
Hi, my name is Faith. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a big Browns fan. I rode horses since I was little. I did competitive for like 2 years, but it's really stressful. So I prefer to just be around horses than compete. And I played piano for 10 years.
Are you still playing, Ms. Costello?
Just for fun. I have pieces that my teacher gave me, but I did some kind of like recurring competition where you earn points every year and you get a little cup. So that was fun. And
riding horses, did you jump, or was it more show riding? What kind of riding did you do?
Yeah, so for 7 years I was hunter jumper and I did do a lot of jumping, but then these past couple years I switched over to dressage, which is a lot more difficult, but a lot more rewarding in my personal opinion. So,
is it more difficult for the horse or for the rider, or both?
It's both. To train a horse in dressage is really rigorous, and I never did that. I had the luxury of having a very well-trained horse, but it's constant engagement on a lot of levels, and which is just not the same for hunter jumpers. So.
Do you all know what dressage is? Not like I'm an expert. No. Ms. Costello, unbelievable though it might seem to you, there are other people in the world never heard of dressage. Tell us a little bit about dressage.
Okay, so dressage, it's a word in a different language and it means like workout. So basically, you're constantly working the horse out. So in hunter jumper, you want to keep the reins slack, but in dressage, there's constantly 5 pounds of pressure in both of your hands from the horse's mouth. And that's to help the horse and keep it collected. And the point of dressage is to not look like you're telling the horse what to do at all. So the least body movement, the better, which is, very hard for me because I'm little, so I kind of fly everywhere when I'm on horses. But yeah, you have to sit the whole time when you're trotting. And there's different, if you've ever seen like the Olympics in horse riding, when horses, spin in circles or their legs come up really high, those are different movements in dressage. So yeah.
And how do you get a horse to walk backwards?
It's very hard to describe. It's more of a feeling. I would say your legs come back and apply pressure, and you apply more pressure in the mouth, but it's more of the way you're sitting. I got yelled at by my coach constantly because she's very, very talented, but she's also not the best teacher in a sense. So you really just have to feel it out. You can't really be told what to do. It's hard.
Well, sorry for bringing up a traumatic moment in your horse career. Let's turn now, thank you, to Mr. Andrew Barth.
Yep, I'm Andrew Barth. I'm from Huntingtown, Maryland.
Close by. You didn't do any riding, I take it?
Oh, only an hour away.
Okay. What were you doing when you were in school? What were the kinds of things you enjoyed doing?
I like reading. I played chess. I was on chess club.
Okay. If I ask that question of anybody and you were engaged in criminal activity, probably just don't tell us about that.
Okay.
We don't need to know, because if we learned, we'd have to report you. So, okay, well, thank you, Mr. Barth, beg your pardon. Caitlin McCartney.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm from Goshen, New York. It's like a really small town, about an hour and a half away from New York City. I played volleyball in high school. I loved that. I really wanted to do like club or something here if, that ever happens. What else?
It did break the rules. Nobody can tell me differently. Also, the associate dean can break the rules when the dean isn't around. So when I leave, we'll allow the associate dean to break the rules. So, Ms. Tracy, tell us a bit about yourself.
I am going to be a junior this year. I am philosophy pre-law, and I do a bunch of different things. I'm the School of Philosophy, one of the senators, along with Melissa Zenz. And then I also do a program called Jumpstart, which is where you teach pre-K students in DC, because you have to pay for pre-K in DC, and a lot of low-income families can't pay for it. So I am a part-time teacher.
And how has philosophy been for you so far?
I have nothing but love for this department. I came in as a social work major and I switched into philosophy because of my LC classes.
Wow. Well, thanks very much, Connecticut. So, actually, I forgot Mrs. Zapp is also from Maryland. So, geez, you out-of-staters, it's going to be a tough competition there. Of course, if you get on a horse, then you could take us all down. Well, look, I don't want to take a lot of your time. First of all, I want to say it is now many, many, many years ago when I became a freshman student, and in some ways I still remember it as though we're not very long ago at all. And it's kind of weird time for me. At the last minute, I decided what I was going to do, and I didn't even end up doing what I'm doing now. I thought I wanted to be an engineer. So Ms. Tracy went one direction, I went another direction. And after a semester, I thought, no, I don't want to do this. So I actually took a semester off and worked and then started all over again. And one thing I remember about the freshman year, especially the first weeks, is it's weird. Even without Zoom and without social isolation and quarantine and all this craziness, it's a little strange being a freshman. And partly, you just got to tough through it. So I don't mean to over dramatize it. It's not like being plunked down into Antarctica with in a bathing suit. That would be difficult. It's not difficult the way that's difficult, but it has its challenges in any situation. And I remember I shared this room, which was tiny, with another guy, and there was just enough space between our beds that one guy could get.
We can always rely upon this, that we make a schedule with Dr. McCarthy and he's going to blow it. So that's fine. He's the dean. That's his prerogative. Good, but I think you just said a few very important and encouraging things, and I'm grateful for that. And next I would ask Madeline Zapp, who until not too long ago was called Madeline Hill, as Abigail correctly observed, to say a few words. Madeline is the assistant, my assistant, and takes care of our undergraduate students. So she will be your point of contact if there are ever any problems that are not immediately academic in nature. So Madeline, would you go ahead and say a few words, please?
Yeah, of course. I think I've tried to be in contact with at least most of you, but if we haven't corresponded at least over email, I'm sure we will be soon. For better or for worse, undergrads will hear a lot from me over email, and we're going to start to be in the office soonish, so maybe even we'll be seeing each other there soon. But like Dr. Forvik mentioned, I'm his assistant, and together we coordinate most of the undergraduate related matters. So questions you have about class schedules, about administrative issues with Cardinal Station or advising, things like that, most of them can be directed towards me. But like what Dr. McCarthy mentioned as well, if you have additional questions about things that wouldn't even seem immediately like something I could help with, you're always welcome to email. We can sometimes help with just being your first point of contact to direct you to the best person on campus for any issue you're having. So not anything else from my end to pass on towards you. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions, but if things come up after the meeting or whenever, always feel free to email.
All right, thanks, Madeline, for that. So we're all looking forward to being back on campus as far as that is possible. We're waiting for sneeze guards and all these kinds of implements that are supposed to keep us safe. And once we have them, we will be back. But the fact that there's no one there presently in a physical fashion on campus does not mean that there's no one there to assist you. We are all working, though from home, and available for you if you need us, right? Whether it be by email or telephone, that's either way is fine. Starting in 2 weeks, we should expect to be on campus on a more regular basis, so that you can also walk in and with proper distancing, talk to Madeline or me when I'm around, and so on. Yeah, it's not going to be as usual. Usually you would see me sitting there on a chair in front of Madeline's desk when I have an issue to talk to her. And when I'm not there, then there's someone else going there and chatting with her. That's, you know, how popular she is and how helpful she is. Really, if there's any issue you think she can help you with, she knows how to get things done. So without her help, I couldn't do my job. Absolutely not. All right, Madeline, I'm sure you have many things to do. So I just say thanks for being here, and then I'll see you at some point. Okay, so here we go. I would just like to talk a little bit about our program and give some general advice to you, so that you know, you get a little bit of a sense what's expecting you. you may wonder, you know, are these the only students here who are starting philosophy as freshmen, right? I see 5 right now. And the answer to that is no. There are more than you 5. So why aren't they here? Well, the answer to that is a little bit more complicated, although not very complicated. So number one, when you study philosophy at Catholic University as a major, you have a number of different programs to choose from. And the main difference is that you can either pursue a program in philosophy in the School of Philosophy or in the School of Arts and Sciences. And the fact that we have those 2 different arrangements has historical reasons, but it's still the case that we do this. There are also some differences in the program requirements. The Arts and Sciences program requires 12 courses for the major in philosophy. In the School of Philosophy, it's 14. There are some other language requirements and so on that I'm happy to talk about if you are interested. And so that's why we have them. Then there's pre-law and regular philosophy in both schools. These things that you probably already know. This welcoming session is run by schools, and so the philosophy majors who are officially Arts and Sciences philosophy majors, they are sitting now in an Arts and Sciences session where they receive their welcome, and then after that is over, they will come here and when we are done, and then I'll have a separate session with them. It's not the most efficient way of doing things, but that's just due to the fact that you're in 2 different schools. So there's going to be another 6 freshmen in Arts and Sciences in the philosophy program there. And you'll be together in your classes, right? That distinction is simply a formal one. It's the same classes you're taking, the same professors, and so on. So that's 6, that makes 12. And then, as you may know or not, at Catholic University, of course, the School of Theology and Philosophy and of Canon Law are what we call ecclesiastical or pontifical schools. That is, we also confer ecclesiastical or church degrees, right? So for example, in philosophy, as a freshman, you can earn a Bachelor of Arts degree, that's the common degree. And if you earn the church version of it, then it's called the Bachelor of Philosophy. And that's the degree that seminarians who are college students like you and prepare for the study of theology and then for the ordination to the priesthood, that's the degree they earn. So there's going to be a couple of seminarians also in your cohort, 7, I believe, freshmen, 6 or 7 freshmen. That brings your whole group, the freshman cohort in philosophy, up to close to 20. And so that's the freshmen. It's not so small a program. They're just divided right now. And so the seminarians have their retreat or so that they typically do before they start classes. So that's why they are not here. So, all right. So there's still plenty of people to get to know over time. All right. The program itself has about, it always fluctuates a little bit, about 100 majors. And about 80 of them are in the School of Philosophy and about 20 in the School of Arts and Sciences. Also that changes over time. There is, I think, and Abigail can say more about that, there's, I think, some active student life going on among philosophy majors, and there's a philosophy club. There is, I've heard, a swing dance group that philosophy majors, to my surprise, seem to enjoy participating in. So there are lots of things one can do. Abigail, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I can mention them. So the philosophy club is, they usually just pick like a topic that they're going to discuss that week. Sometimes they have a select reading or a video that we watch, and then you debate it when you come to philosophy club. They have like snacks and food available, snacks and drinks available for you guys just like hang out. I think we're going to be doing something virtual this semester, and it's actually really, really fun. I went to a few of them, and they get like really heated about like just strange topics. So that's fun that you can enjoy. And then, yeah, I know a lot of philosophy majors for some reason really like to swing dance. There's a swing dancing club that you can join. I personally have not taken part in that, so I can't really mention much about that, but it does seem to be fun. And then there's also the SGA senator spots, and they, I think there's going to be 2 available, usually upperclassmen run, but also underclassmen run. I ran last year as a sophomore, and you can get involved in that. And you can also reach out to the senators if you have any concerns about the philosophy department and you want like some bill to be passed or a resolution to be passed, or you just want something different in the philosophy department.
Okay, thanks, Abigail. So that's that. Now, one important, I think, difference for philosophy majors compared to many other majors is that you don't start your major courses in philosophy really until sophomore year, right? So if you're a psychology major, you have your psychology 201, general psychology, first semester, and so on and so on. But for philosophy majors, since you're all taking the introductory philosophy classes that all the other students also take, you are not going to do this. So the introductory classes are prerequisites for the upper level classes. And these introductory classes, as you may also know, are part of the first year experience program. And the first year experience program, have you heard about that at all? Yeah? No? Okay, I'm going to say a few things. Okay, so the first experience program is there to help students, transition to college more easily and make friends more quickly. And to help with that process, students take in a small community of typically about 15 to 18 students, 2 courses during freshman year together, 2 courses every semester. And one of the 2 is a philosophy class, so typically philosophy 201, the classical mind. And then the following semester, 202, the modern mind. And the other course is then either English composition or an introductory theology class. And the students are assigned to learning communities. And with these group of students, 15 to 18, they take these classes together. So this way you can get to know this group of people at least quickly, and therefore hopefully make friends more quickly and feel at home more easily. Now, of course, this semester everything is different because it's just going to be freshmen on campus. So it's easier for you to make friends than it might normally be with more students around. But I think you'll still enjoy the fact that you are going to be in the smaller group where you get to know people quickly and have class together and can do things together beyond class. So, so that is why you won't see any major courses in philosophy really until sophomore year. And once you get into sophomore year, then you will take all the courses that I'm sure you've read about, the history of philosophy from ancient to contemporary, metaphysics and ethics and philosophy of knowledge and human nature, logic, and all of that. Okay, so in addition to the learning community, the freshman classes, I hope that you all are enrolled in a language class because that is important regardless of the program that you're in right now specifically. There's a language requirement for everyone to the intermediate level. And most of you have already learned a language in high school or so, and it's typically that's Spanish. So since you already have that knowledge, it's good to build on it and not let it fade away even more than it may already have. So do that right now. It's also an opportunity to do another language. If you want to study a new language, that's a possibility too, right? Latin is a great language to study, I like to say. But I mean, our students have done different kinds of things, right? Of course, there's Italian. Many like to go to Rome, to our Rome campus during junior year. and there's, of course, even an Irish class. I mean, if you like Irish, that's an option, Chinese. And 1 year we had someone, a major who graduated already, who wanted to study Japanese. Now, we don't offer Japanese, but Howard University offers it. So it is possible for the students in our university consortium here in the area to take courses at one of the participating institutions if that class is not offered at the student's home institution. So that student could in fact then take Japanese classes at Howard University while being a student at Catholic without having to pay anything in addition, right? So if you want to study Japanese, that's where you need to go. All right, so that's the language course. And then we also typically recommend that you take a math course. There's one math course required for you, that you do that early on, because same as with language, you probably had some math not too long ago, and it's easier to do it while that is still somewhat fresh in your memory, rather than come senior year, all of a sudden you realize, hey, I need this one math course that I haven't taken yet because I hate math. That was a good thing to do. And beyond that, a course of interest, right? I call it the fun course. Now, fun courses can also satisfy requirements. They may in fact be a course in, I don't know, social science, because you always wanted to take a course in anthropology. And now there's that one that you can take, and that actually meets a requirement for the social science requirement. Whatever it be, you know, there's a combination of things you have to do and the things you may do. Ideally, they coincide, but you know, you have to look actively for the things also that you are curious about, not just the ones that you have to do. So those would be normally 5 courses total that you would be taking. That's the regular course load, you know, for a philosophy major and most students here. Okay, what else is there? Yeah, I spoke about those requirements, right? The language, math, science, and so on. All students have to participate in what we call liberal arts curriculum. That's a core or general education curriculum. It comes in different names at different institutions. And that program we just developed a few years ago. So if you ever talk to a senior right now, that senior would not have taken it. I think it's in fact Abigail's class that was the first to start with this new program. And this liberal arts curriculum has a series of different areas in which you take courses. So the philosophy courses, introductory are part of that, then introductory theology, English composition, and then one course in, you know, literature, fine arts, natural science, social science, math. I'm sure if I sent you a welcome email, I may have attached a copy of that. And if not that, then your advisor in the Center for Academic and Career Success will have shared a copy with you of the liberal arts curriculum. So the program is held together by what we call enduring questions. So these courses are not just courses that, well, are offered for majors in other programs or whatever, but they're all specifically approved for the liberal arts curriculum because we believe that they can contribute to a good, solid liberal arts education. And the studies in these courses are guided by what we call enduring questions. So about, you know, the human condition, justice, God, things like that, right? And that gives the whole program a certain focus that you will get to know as you take these courses. Now, many students like to add a minor to their program of studies, and that's an easy thing to do. We offer, I don't know, I think over 50 or so minor programs. It's a lot. If you just go on the university website in the search field, minor or minors, then that will bring you to a web page that has the whole list. and then they can click on it and it gives you the requirements. So that's a great way, you know, for example, for using your electives. And especially for philosophy majors, it's a nice way also, not just to pursue other interests, but also, for example, to think of areas where you might think this could help you for your professional life later on, right? So if there's a minor in accounting, there's a minor in management, there are things like that. A minor in psychology, all kinds of things. This is something that you don't have to think about right now, but eventually I think this could be helpful. So you can also choose a second major. We have a good number of students who pursue 2 majors. Philosophy and theology is the primary one, but then all kinds, you know, psychology, politics, a number of business students, in fact, and there are great possibilities there to do that. Now, if you're interested in pursuing a second major, then you should start taking courses towards that major early on, just to get a sense whether that's something that you would want to do. So if you think you might consider, you know, a second major in psychology, or you just don't know yet whether philosophy is going to be the right thing for you, all right, could happen too, then it would be good to take a psychology class this semester, right, 201. And the advantage is that course might actually satisfy a requirement already in your liberal arts curriculum, but it might already also introduce you to that other field of studies that you're considering, right? So that requires a little bit more planning because you need to coordinate the 2 schedules of the 2 majors, but it's not a difficult thing to do. What else is there? I mentioned already study abroad. When students study abroad, they typically do so during junior year. The exception is only the honors program that has an honors abroad program during sophomore year in Rome. So again, there are many possibilities. Not now, there are no possibilities this semester, unfortunately. Next semester, we hope to be able to send people to Rome, and Abigail will be one of them, God willing. But beyond that, under normal circumstances, there are lots of possibilities. So we've had students go to, well, Australia, to England, of course, Great Britain, and Italy, Germany, South America, really all over the world, right? It's just a fascinating opportunity to broaden your horizon. That needs a little planning, but your advisors will always assist you with that. So if you're considering studying abroad, mention that early on when you meet with your advisor. Okay, advisor. You have already met, I suppose, or been in touch with your advisor in the Center for Academic and Career Success. Yeah, is that correct? Yeah, I see nodding. Okay, good. Right now, I serve as your major advisor. That is for all matters philosophy and your general academic needs. Before the registration opens for the spring semester, you will be assigned a different advisor in philosophy, another colleague. So everyone has only typically about 6 advisees, so that, you know, we can spread it out a little bit. And you will meet every semester with your philosophy advisor before you register for classes to discuss your plans and what would be good classes and so on. And that's an important meeting because it will help you not just to stay on track, but it will also help you to plan for minors, second majors, study abroad, things like that. The advisor in the Center for Academic and Career Success will be particularly helpful for career planning. They will also go with you over courses, but they are the ones really to talk to with regard to preparation for life after college. You know. They run workshops on, you know, how to create a CV, you know, how to establish contact with companies and so on, how to pursue an internship and things like that. They're particularly helpful with that. All right. So at this point, I think it's time to just open the floor to questions that you may have. Maybe this has all been overwhelming, almost an hour of talking. So if you don't find a question right now, then you're always welcome to just send me an email or make an appointment, and we can meet one-on-one by Zoom to discuss any questions you may have. Right now, where we don't have a chance to meet on campus, I think Zoom meetings are actually quite good. I mean, if we met on campus, we'd both be wearing masks, and that's not that appealing, I guess. But anyway, opinions might differ. Okay, any questions?
I just have one about what you said about having a minor potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Italian this year, like elementary Italian. I've never taken it before, but if I were to make that a minor, what would be the requirements for that?
Okay, so typically the minor requirements consist of 6 courses, yeah? So in philosophy, for example, it is those introductory courses, 201, 202, and then 4 more. So let's say a minor in Italian studies, which is a possibility, presupposes knowledge of the language. And now, typically, they only count advanced language courses towards the minor. So that is, you would study Italian 101 through 104, and then advanced Italian 203 and 204, those 2 would count towards the minor, and then 4 other Italian courses, literature and whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it might be a little bit harder, but I could still do it.
With the language, it's a little bit harder because they don't count the basic language courses.
Okay.
But you would have to inquire or look at the website of the Modern Languages Department. Sometimes they already count intermediate level language courses. So then you can get in already with 103, 104 that you have to take anyway. And then just add 4 more courses in Italian studies. One or the other might in fact also satisfy a literature requirement in the liberal arts curriculum. So there's also space for a second minor if you want to do a second one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Although I think for dressage riding, you would have to go to Germany. But the advantage is to Italy as well. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if that is not the case, then I would just wish you a good start at Catholic University and in our philosophy program. I hope you get to meet a good number of people, even though it's at this point just freshmen on campus. You have each other to meet. I think that's good. Be safe. I think you've heard that now plenty of times. So follow the whatever distancing rules and mask wearing and all of that. It's important to maintain safety on campus, and we do want to prevent what happened in many other places, that we all of a sudden have to shut down completely on-campus operations because the infection numbers rise, right? So that's really important, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't socialize, right? You can still meet with proper, safety measures, and you should do that. I mean, you can't just sit in your room and be on your own, right? That's not healthy either, unless you're sick. And then do get your books early on, right? So that you have them ready when you go to class. And do your readings, okay? So that's important, it's critical. And by reading, I mean reading the text and not Spark Notes, okay? So, and if you read Spark Notes, then after reading the text. It's important to read the text, especially in philosophy. Don't be discouraged if it turns out to be difficult at times. You know, I had a student once who came to me and said, you know, Dr. Vorwerk, I had to spend 2 hours reading that text. And do I have a learning disability? And I said, oh no, you don't have a learning disability. This is a difficult text and it takes everyone that long to read it. Now, in philosophy, we don't assign you 100 pages. That happens in history maybe, or in some other disciplines. It's going to be just 20. So you have time for careful, slow reading, and it's important to do that. Then ask questions. You know, when you're in class, ask questions. I know sometimes one feels stupid asking a question because everyone else seems to be smart and not in need of answering a question. But be assured, at least half of the class has the same question that you have and doesn't dare to ask it. Okay, so whenever anything is unclear, ask a question. The instructors are happy to answer your questions, and they won't know that there is a problem unless you tell them, right? It helps the class at large. And then finally, get enough sleep. That's important too, okay? Because it's hard to study if you don't sleep enough. So make sure you take care of yourself. All right, at some point, I hope I'll see you in person, but until then, all the best.
I actually have something. I was just informed that the bookstore is actually not allowing, because it is considered off campus, it's not allowing any first years into Barnes & Noble. So if you do not have your books yet, it is important for you to like let your professors know either beforehand or the day of. I'm sure, I mean, that is also important for you to know for work, but you cannot go get your textbooks until after the 2-week quarantine is over.
Yeah, okay, that's very important to know. I have not heard that before. So I'll let our instructors know that this is the case. And we'll make sure that if you don't have a copy already and you don't order your copy by, which I'm not supposed to say that that's even possible, Amazon, and get it delivered, then we'll make sure that you get an electronic, some copies that allow you to work. Okay, thank you so much, Abigail. That's very important. Okay, anything else that I should know? No, okay, good. All right, so next I'm going to meet with your arts and sciences philosophy major colleagues. So I'll send them greetings from you, and I hope that you all, you know, meet up at some point in some capacity. Thank you. Abigail, are you staying on?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. I actually think this was like the school of like the Department of Philosophy, because I think I'm in arts and sciences.
Ah, that's right. Okay. Let me see. I have a list. I have a list here. Let me look.
I think you guys came to the first session when you should have been going to the arts and sciences one. I was thinking that as you were saying that.
Yeah.
But it's okay because we're recording all of them. So if you need to, we will send you the arts and sciences
Okay, that'd be good.
presentation.
I may have to hop off.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good though.
So good to see you though. So hello
Wait,
there.
sorry, could I just double check? So this is for like the philosophy and philosophy pre-law, right? Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's wait and see until
Thank you.
everyone's on. Thank you, James.